Hello and welcome to today's video, and today I have myself, where are we? There we go. I have myself some helpers and we are out for a lovely family walk. So just got part of the tribe today, so it'll be interesting. I've never done this before and I've got to talk in front of people, even if it's you. See, so yes, what I'd like to do really today is talk through how I basically break down a scene. But before I do that, I'd like to take you back a couple of days to a beautiful morning I witnessed down on the Devonshire coast. Okay, and here we are. This is where I'm hoping to spend the next hour or so, right down by the beach. And there is actually a building in this dark shadow here, which I'm hoping is going to be illuminated at some point this morning. I'm just going to make some compositions from further up the beach to take in some of the surroundings. So at some point the sun is going to pop up across this horizon at some point. I'm not quite sure where, so I might need to recompose rather quickly, but it's absolutely beautiful and there's nobody about either. It's very quiet, apart from the morning chorus. I don't know if you can hear that. Absolutely lovely. So I'm going to get a wiggle on and get the composition sorted out, and I'll be back with you shortly. Sadly at the moment there's not a huge amount of clouds in the sky, which is a bit of a shame, because yesterday when I looked out the window the sky was a lot more interesting than it is today. But I'm hoping we might be able to get a couple of shots with, you know, maybe the sun will catch some of the clouds. I don't know. Little disappointing as it comes to the clouds, but I don't know, we could basically, that's the good thing about photography, isn't it? It's making the best of what you've got. And the plan was to come down yesterday, but I didn't. So what I'm actually trying to do, I'm trying to compose my first image because I won't have a lot of time to mess around. I'm not exactly sure at the point at which the sun is going to come up above the horizon. I think I'm in the right place at the moment, but there's no huge clue as to the exact point. And what I want to try and do is, or what I'm going for is trying to get a sunburst as it comes across the horizon. I'm not sure if that will work or not, I don't know. But we've got some very high sort of cloud, which might light up, I don't know at the moment. We've got about 20 minutes, I think it's about 6:10 at the moment. So we've got about 20 minutes before the sun actually gets up above the horizon. So I'm just going to use this time now and take a few sort of practice shots just to see what compositions we can get from it. Now, my thought is, because obviously as you can tell the building is in complete darkness, it's very, very black, is to overexpose and basically shoot a image to bring out the shadows in that. You could bring some detail out in that, and obviously that would mean that the sky is totally washed out and white and totally gone. And then without changing the camera, exposed for the sky when the sun comes up. So I'm hoping we might be able to work very quickly, because I think we'll have about a minute or two to rattle off as many stacked images as we can if I have to move from where I am now. So that's the plan. If it works out or not, I don't know, but I shall pop that image up for you shortly. Okay, as you can probably see, the sun is coming up, I think, just around the other side of the headland, so I'm kind of in a bit of a wrong place here. It was a bit hit and miss, I think, this morning. So I might not get the shot that I particularly want at this moment. So I might just have a little wander back along this short little beach and just see if there's something we can do just over that far end. But we've got the beautiful colours are kicking off. So it's one of those, do you hang around and wait? But I just know that the shot that I want isn't going to happen. I don't know, what shall I do? I think I'll walk along the beach a little bit, I think. Yes, that's what we'll do. Okay, well, the sun hasn't happened, as it were. It's actually broken the horizon just around the other side of the headland, which was a little bit disappointing. But it's not a wasted morning. I found this lovely log which has just been washed up on the beach. So what I've done is I've come down and set myself down low, and just to make some interest with the textures and the shape of this log, and maybe try and frame a little bit the building, which is just to my right. And with an exposure blend, obviously you expose for the foreground, because obviously normally if you were to take it as a one shot, it'd be very dark from front to back if you're exposing for the sky. So I've put a slightly longer shutter speed on for the log, and that obviously blows the sky out. But then we take an image for the sky and just let all the beautiful colours in the sky shine through. So I'll pop that image up for you now. Now, as I busied myself trying to find more compositions, I was joined by a couple that enthusiastically introduced themselves as nutters. And between you and me, I can see why. Okay, so I've moved just along the beach again towards the building, and I'm going to make use of this wall on the right hand side, and with the rocks and boulders and stuff which are surrounding the building. Because the sun's coming up behind, everything's in shadow, so I'm having to do a multiple exposure on this one, just so that I can bring out the details in the shadows, and then I'll expose for the sky and hopefully bring in some of the beautiful colour that's still remaining in the sky, just about. Yeah, I think it's about a 4-image focus stack on this one, and this is what it turned out like. go down and visit the family down in Devon, we end up talking about photography, locations that I've been, locations that my mum's found and things like that, and places where they think I might like to visit next time I go down that way. And I asked just for references, you know, did you take any photographs of a particular location she was talking to me about? And she said something quite curious. She said she didn't feel that she knew enough to take a good photograph. And I thought that was a bit of an interesting thing to say, really. And it got me thinking as to, I wonder how many more people don't take a photograph because they don't feel they know enough to take a decent photograph. So I just thought what I'll do today is really just break down a normal scene, and just to see how I would try and get the best out of it. And that's what I hope to achieve with you over the next couple of minutes. So basically, if a scene moves you enough to take a picture of it, 90% of the time it's moved other people to take exactly the same photograph, whether it be a seascape, a cityscape, or any other sort of scape. And so what I like to do is take that picture, at least I've got a point of reference, and then step away from the scene and maybe go in and maybe find something a little more intimate within the scene. I would then start looking for patterns, I might start looking for shapes, I might start looking for textures, anything to take me away from that first shot that I've taken. So the first thing to really look at, as I'm sure you've heard many, many times before, is composition, composition, and composition. If you can work on composition, even on a phone, it will improve your photography tenfold, just by taking a breath and just moving things around just slightly, just to make a more balanced picture. And that's what I try and do when I take an image, is I try and balance that image up and try and include things, but you not only include things but also take things out, because there are some things that maybe you don't need in the photograph, which don't really add anything to it and can cause a distraction. So by going in and finding something slightly different, all these sorts of things I tend to sort of go through my mind. One, does it need to be in the image? Secondly, is there a good shape? Is there a good texture? Is the image balanced? And so that's what I try and keep in mind. Sometimes it works, a lot of the time it doesn't work, but it's having a go. That's what it is, it's all about having a go. So first off, you've got these lovely white flowers. So yes, you would think, oh yeah, lovely white flowers, and you would then obviously take a photograph of it. That's absolutely beautiful. But then what I would like to see now, is even using my phone, is to start moving around and start seeing if I can make that one picture, the first picture, how I can make the next picture different from that. Well, something that I always like to do is I always have my phone in landscape. Whenever I take a photograph, I tend to always shoot in landscape rather than portrait mode. I know a lot of people shoot for social media and things like that, but I like the widescreen way of doing things. Really, it just makes it feel a bit more natural. But that's just me. So I've got the same scene. And I'm just going to basically toy with the camera now and maybe try and pick out something with the actual flowers themselves, if there's any really, really nice ones, because you get to do so much with these cameras. So I think what we've got there is we've got two flowers that are at different stages in their development. Now I'm going to frame those up side by side. And that's quite nice. We've got one that's just popping up. Actually, if we move him to the middle, I think that would look quite interesting. So what we've got, we've got the one flower and there's another one next to it. But as we bring back, so you can see this third one just comes in, but it gives us a little bit of depth when it comes to the image. So often the case, I just turn myself around and there's obviously there's a blanket of these little white flowers all over. So again, I'm just recomposing, working the area and seeing what we can get, all with our phone, and trying to find something that maybe somebody else might not get. And the good thing about these phone cameras is you can get right in behind. And that'll be an interesting shot, I think. it looks like Amelia's managed to find herself a composition featuring this log, so it'll be interesting to see how that comes out. And she wants to edit that herself, so she's going to do that in Lightroom when we get back, and I shall pop that up for you now.
Hello!
Okay, well hopefully there's a couple of little tips that you could use there. Composition, that's the main thing. Composition, even with a mobile phone, whether you're using a normal camera, it will be composition. If you can work on your composition, you're going to improve your photography so much. There are things out there like the rule of thirds and the golden ratio and all those sorts of things, and they're all guidelines. They might not always add what you want to portray in your image, but they're a good guideline to go against. But rules are made to be broken, so they're just guidelines. So yeah, hopefully those images that I put up have kind of worked out, and maybe illustrate the point that I'm trying to make. Is you take your initial photograph, that's what I tend to do, take my first initial photograph, and then any photograph that I take after that I try and make different than the first one that I did, because the first photograph that I take is bound to be the same one that everybody else takes. And hopefully you can make your photography your own. I think the kids need me.